Nowadays, there are new diseases and challenges human race is facing. Scientists have a new alternative for such problems. This is genetically modified organisms. This new technology works by modifying a certain specific area of the genome of the organism to make an advantage or a certain ability developed for this new organism to be better for humans. These new technologies, although have some people saying they are dangerous, they might have some reason because the technology is still on development. Although proof and experimentation has demonstrated that GMOs are safe when controlled and they are still not released into market without certain and specified regulations of the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, so they are safe for consuming.
Every day, the world faces a lot of changes caused by pollution and the destruction of the habitats of different species, as well as the introduction of some species to certain environments they do not belong to. And because of this, millions of species are threatened with extinction, like the avian population of honey creepers in Hawaii. Climate change has played an important role in threatening these species, but the main threat in Hawaii is the introduction of the mosquito in the country, carrying avian malaria and causing the death of more than 100 native Hawaiian birds. Mosquitoes were introduced to the country in the 19th century when carried by whaling ships. Native Hawaiian birds did not have any immunity to the diseases carried by these insects because they were never exposed to it until its arrival in the 19th century. This is the main reason the mosquito was so deadly for the local species.
So lots of researchers are currently targeting these species and developing ways to kill them or kill the dangerous stuff inside them. Take the genus Aedes, which transmits lots of awful diseases. One particularly nasty species is Aedes aegypti, which is the primary vector for the yellow fever, dengue, chikungunya, and Zika viruses. A. aegypti is not just a pest, it's one of the most medically significant pests, so it's the focus of a lot of recent experiments in targeted mosquito eradication. But some of the most promising research doesn't set out to kill mosquitoes outright. Instead, it genetically modifies them.
Many solutions were given to kill the mosquitoes and protect the endangered species of birds in the country. But people are afraid of killing the birds too, and therefore nothing was done until now, when a group of scientists proposed 3 different ideas of killing the mosquitoes and saving the birds by using genetic engineering and not harmful chemicals, as suggested for the first possible solution. First, they suggested to introduce genetically modified mosquitoes, altering their genes to make them die more quickly. Then, they suggested deploying a certain bacteria, called Goldbachia bacteria, to prevent any virus from entering to the salivary glands of mosquitoes. By making this, the mosquitoes living in Hawaii will not carry any disease, preventing the death of the birds. The final solution they gave was to alter the genetic destiny of species by using gene-drive technology. This way, the birds would be genetically modified to resist the diseases carried by mosquitoes. Some critics argue that altering genes to save the birds could cause their extinction, as they would be experimented on and this could have severe damages in their health. But none of this is true, and it may present the first genuine opportunity to protect these species.
No adult mosquitoes means no disease transmission. Likewise, a team of scientists in California inserted modified genes into a species of Anopheles mosquitoes, which are vectors for the parasite that causes malaria. The modified genes cause the mosquitoes to kill the malaria-causing parasites that live inside them before they can transmit them to humans. And as a bonus, these parasite-destroying genes are designed to be passed on to 99.5% of the mosquito's offspring. So eventually, this entire species could be unable to transmit malaria, and scientists scientists think that same technology could be applied to other mosquito species and other parasites and viruses like Zika. Lastly, some scientists are fighting fire with fire, or fighting viruses with bacteria, by intentionally infecting A. aegypti mosquitoes with a bacterium called Wolbachia. Wolbachia seems to stop most viruses from growing inside these mosquitoes, so even if the mosquitoes bite somebody infected with, say, the dengue virus, the virus wouldn't survive inside the mosquito long enough to be transmitted to a new person. Now, because viruses mutate rapidly, scientists worry about accidentally creating deadly viruses that are resistant to Wolbachia. But a study released this week suggested a strategy to super-infect mosquitoes with more than one strain of the bacteria at a time. This way, the viruses can't develop resistance to the bacteria as easily, and we can keep infecting mosquitoes to keep them from infecting us. I mean, it's only fair. So basically, it would be incredibly difficult and possibly harmful to kill all the mosquitoes, but we may soon be able to focus on certain species and take away their ability to infect us, making the world a lot safer. But not any less itchy.
How can genetically modified organisms affect our daily lives as we know it? It is now known that GMOs can be both beneficial and harmful for living beings. In this case, we need to focus on how can we improve our lives by supporting the idea of genetically modified mosquitoes in order to beat certain viruses and illnesses aiming for the wellness of the human being. In this case, we may plan the example that modified mosquitoes could actually save the Hawaiian birds, which were not immune before mosquitoes arrived for certain viruses. Indeed, mosquitoes can be modified in order to combat certain viruses, and that's the case which we want to focus on, which is the Zika virus. Now, mosquitoes infected with Zika can actually be beaten with chemicals that may not harm humans. It is important in this position that we need to recognize that harming human beings with genetically modified organisms is the worst case scenario. Furthermore, attacking Zika with modified mosquitoes is the option that governments and the states, which is the case of Miami, are needing to take. Human health can also be endangered with modified mosquitoes, so it is a very difficult task for them to do it. If we alter genes to save another species, we can actually cause them to go extinct. And that was the drama with the Hawaiian birds. But we have technology that can actually represent an opportunity to protect those species. Still, this technology doesn't guarantee the fact that we can harm them. As a perfect example, we've been managing mosquitoes are the GMOs that we can manage to make them safely, to make them in the safest way possible in order to the wellness of the human being and to beat certain viruses, in this case, the Zika virus.
Finally, we can say that GMOs, genetically modified organisms, can help human race to face the new threats this world has, such as new viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Although there are some that believe these new technologies could be the downfall of mankind. However, scientists have proved that GMOs are a useful technology that is still on development, and it will really help humans to cure some diseases and to solve certain elementary problems such as food and water scarcity.